thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Sim. I'm the head of content here at Unlimit, and this is our Journey to Success series. So could you please just start us off jumping straight into your career history so far and what has led you to this part of founding Velmie?
It is a pleasure to join you today, Sim, and to meet you in person. And when it comes to my story, the story of my business, it started probably, I think, soon 15 plus years ago. And during this period, there were some direction changes. I mean, originally, I started the company that was intended to be a kind of an e-commerce venture, a local Amazon. And that was 15 plus years ago. At that time, we built this e-commerce platform. And at that very time, our current management team met. So once we were through with our e-commerce platform venture, I mean, there was very little work left for support, and there was just a question what to do with the team, either just to say goodbye to most of the people or just finding a way to keep them working together. So at the time we started to look around, and this was basically the start how our software development house was started. We started with a different kind of project, but gradually financial projects were most frequent in our portfolio. And in about 5 or 6 years later, we shifted to our current business model. And basically at this point in time, Velmie is a combination. It is a product and service company serving our financial business clients in the financial industry. So it is about 15 years. I think we just started, and hopefully we will just continue in the same way with many things to do in the future.
Thank you for sharing. Absolutely. I'm sure that it will continue with great success. But what I would love to know is, as you mentioned, like having 15 years of experience, being a CEO, being an entrepreneur, how do you find the motivation and inspiration to take ideas and bring them to life like you have here?
The sources of motivation are common, like with many other business people. I mean, in our case, for example, it can be industry news when you just regularly reviewing those things that happen around with digital currencies, cryptocurrencies, tokens, and things like that. And you understand that those things are likely to impact positively the lives of the people. It makes you just motivated, and it keeps you motivated. Other sources might include business books, business magazines, just to read not just success stories, because success stories are not that frequent in business life, but also failure stories, how people tried and failed. They're also a great source of motivation, just to learn from other people's experience. And there are many more sources of motivation. For example, this possible partnership with Unlimit that we are in the process of. I mean, for Velmie, it is a chance and opportunity to just combine our services, our product with the services and product and opportunities of Unlimit. And I'm sure that our future clients and prospects, they will just benefit from this partnership. So this is just another example of inspiration that just happens in this life.
Absolutely. No, I think it's great that there are so many different ways that you can find that sort of motivation and spark to push you, because it must be so difficult being in such a senior role. Being a CEO must have so many different elements to it. which brings me on very nicely to my next question, which is, what is a day in the life like as a CEO in the financial services?
In my case, it comes in blocks. I mean, it is just grouped into blocks of people work and paperwork. So usually I start early. I mean, about 5 o'clock and early to bed. I think I'm asleep at 10 p.m. So once the day started, I just group those activities into these blocks, and then just rotate with those activities with some breaks, like I don't know, meals, sports, family, kids, and usually 2 blocks of people work when I communicate mostly remotely with the team members, with our prospects, current clients, partners. And when it comes to paperwork, another piece, main piece of daily business day, it is just reviewing operations, reviewing strategy now and then, reviewing separate units, performance. So basically, just again, this rotation of 2 kinds of activities, and this is a common business day in my case.
Thank you so much for sharing. I mean, it sounds like even though you have a good routine, it sounds like every day can be very, very different because there are so many different elements.
Yeah, I agree. But the structure is basically always the same. Of course, there are exceptions like travels or things like that. But as we mentioned, routine, it is usually aligned with some simple but strict structure.
That's amazing. I think a lot of the time we see so many things about having that discipline and structure is like so important to essentially finding success in our own ways. But what I would love to know is, from your successes, from your journey so far, is what are your top 3 tips that you would like to share for professionals who are looking to dive into the world of tech?
I think for those who just start their careers in tech, I would suggest think if they get excited about this professional life. I mean, 5-10 years ago, even 4 years ago, there was so much hype about IT. It was a huge demand. And even from our experience, I remember we had, let's say, a queue of clients and customers willing to work with us. And that hype is over. And now only I think most professional, best of the best companies will just continue their operations in the tech world. So if you are just about to start, I would suggest to think, and if it makes you excited, those things that happen in the tech world, then probably it is the way to go. Second tip or idea is just to think long term. I mean, success stories in the tech world, they happen now and then. I mean, quick success stories when you read that people just built companies, successful companies, raised millions, earned millions within a couple of years. But like any success story, it is not that frequent. And there are a lot of failures, and each company basically goes through a series of small failures, small success. And so if you are okay and ready for long term, then probably it is also a good way for you to go when it comes to tech. And the third one, I think you should be ready to learn all the time. I mean, tech world is subject to changes so frequently that it is a challenge to keep up with all those things and changes that happen, occur. So if you feel comfortable to learn all your life, then you are good to go. But of course, there are more things to consider. But these few things that come to my mind first.
Thank you very much. I mean, I definitely agree. I think the industry, we see so many changes on a daily basis that people need to be sort of inspired to carry on and want to learn about those changes. Otherwise, it's very easy to get left behind. And I love the advice about following essentially what it is that excites you, because if you don't have a passion for it, you're not going to be motivated to continue and to push yourself and stay ahead of the trends. And that is the key to success, in all honesty. So that's great advice. Thank you so much. So looking slightly forward, I would love if you could please discuss about the last point that you actually made, which is about staying ahead of what's going on and the fact that our industry is so fast paced. How do you yourself stay current, and how do you adapt to these changes, whether it's regulations or consumer habits or technological advancements?
When it comes on a personal level, it seems pretty easily achievable. I mean, just read the news and you should be fine. But when it comes to a professional life, it is much more challenging. I don't think that I'm good at it, that I know the answer. Just from our experience, probably it is the size of our team, but from our experience, it takes us time. I mean, our team, it takes us time to plan some changes, some tweaks into our units operations, into our strategy. But by the time we are just about to start those changes, the tech world seems to be already far away. So I'm not sure how big companies do that and how they are successful at that. I'm sure that they do better than us. But we learn hard, and I hope that shortly we will accelerate. I mean, that we will be able just to process those needed changes, just plan them accordingly, just be able to implement them considering the size of our team. But yeah, I agree, it is a huge challenge that we pursue, and hopefully next time we talk with you, I will have a better answer.
I think your answer was great. I don't think it needs a better one, but thank you. I definitely agree. I think it can be such a daunting sort of process when people look objectively at how fast the industry does evolve. And I think especially if you bring it back to where you're talking about finding excitement and inspiration, that fast-paced element can be a very exciting thing if people are enthusiastic about it or they have a passion for it. So I think it is something very exciting. I mean, it must be something that's quite exciting for you as well, because you've built your brand around being able to adapt and mold, and there has to be a level that you're like, okay, yes, I like this, so I know I need to stay on top of everything that is evolving.
Yep.
Amazing. So what I would like to do is change slightly rather from the product element, and I would love to discuss like you and your journey, because something that we see a lot of now is we see so many successful career pathways, so many people that are doing amazing things. And I think a lot of the time people are trapped by something called imposter syndrome, where they have an element of self-doubt, and they have these moments where they second guess themselves, their capabilities, and it can stop them from pursuing things that they would love to. And in my conversations throughout this series, I've been very, very excited and privileged to come across people like yourself who've been really honest about their journey. So it would be amazing if you could maybe talk about if you have ever experienced these moments of self-doubt or imposter syndrome, and how have you overcome them throughout your career?
Yeah, I think it is something that every person passes through. I mean, either in personal or in professional life. And I think those things seem to be harder when I was younger, and when people are younger. From my point of view, I mean, once you get some experience, you know that those things are inevitable, self-doubt and similar stuff. And in that case, what I do, I just rely on my previous experience. I just remember that those things, similar things, happened in the past, and I'm over them. and everything is fine and life goes on. And probably another thing is time. I mean, even if you had similar experiences in the past, it is always not easy time, not easy feeling, and you just sometimes understand that it will take you some time and you should be fine. So experience, time, and self-awareness when you just know yourself a bit better than you used to know yourself 10 years ago. So I think it is just a combination of those things that help you to get through those tough times, but they happen in life, and I think they happen more on a more frequent basis that we would like them to happen.
No, absolutely. I completely agree. And I also love how you summarized it so succinctly. But I think my favorite part of what you had said was literally about the element of looking back at past experiences, because hindsight and reflection is really great, because at the time when you're in that situation, you may feel like, oh my gosh, I don't know how I'm ever going to overcome this. And then you do, but it's not very often that people will stop and take a moment to say, wow, look, like I was terrified about that just a week ago or a month ago or a year ago, and now I've achieved it. So having that sort of moment to stop and look back, it's perfect advice. I think it's very valuable, and it's something that we should all do, even to celebrate our successes rather than just overcoming imposter syndrome or moments of doubt. So it's wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm already on my last question, and I can't believe it. It's actually my favorite question to ask everybody on this series, because everybody has such a different answer and it's so open-ended. But it is simply, how do you define success?
When it comes to success, I think the definition changes from time to time. I mean, at one point in time, you see this from this perspective. At some other point in time, you see it from a different perspective. When it comes to my current understanding, or not understanding, but definition, I would say that there is a saying like happy wife, happy life. By this I mean, if we have as a company, if we have a portfolio of satisfied, happy clients, and they just are really satisfied, and they just share those their satisfaction through different channels. And at the same time, if we have a happy team, people just enthusiastic about what we do, and they just share their ideas how we can do things better. I mean, at those rare occasions when both parties are happy and satisfied, I think for us, for me personally, it is currently defined as success. In the future, I'm sure those things will change, as they changed from my past vision or definition of success. But at this point in time, I would say this is how I see it.
I think that's great. Thank you. I think it's lovely that, like, in building a brand, you place so much focus on the client and their happiness, that is something that you would use, like, to define your own standard. I think that's wonderful, because that not only motivates you to continue pushing, but it's also a great benchmark.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, that is all of my questions for you today, and I'm so grateful to you for having made the time to speak with me. It's been such a pleasure, and I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you, Sim, for taking time to interview me. Hopefully, it will be a successful marriage. I mean, Velmie is unlimited. We will see. But thank you, and enjoy your weekend.